August 3rd, 1936. The Olympic Stadium in Berlin, Germany. 110,000 spectators pack the stands. Nazi flags hang from every pillar, blood red with black swastikas at their center. The crowd roars with anticipation. On the track, a young black man from Ohio crouches at the starting line. His name is Jesse Owens. He's 22 years old. Around him, the flags ripple in the wind. Behind him, somewhere in the stadium, Adolf Hitler watches. The Führer believes today will prove his theories about racial superiority. He believes the master race will dominate these games. Jesse Owens is about to prove him wrong. But this story doesn't start in Berlin. It starts much earlier, in a place very different from this grand stadium. To understand what happens here today, we need to go back to Alabama, back to a childhood marked by poverty and racism, back to where a legend was born. The year is 1913. In Oakville, Alabama, a boy is born to Henry and Emma Owens. They name him James Cleveland Owens. His grandparents had been slaves. His parents are sharecroppers, barely scraping by in the segregated South. Young J.C., as everyone calls him, picks cotton alongside his family. He's often sick with pneumonia. His family is so poor they can't afford a doctor. When J.C. is 9 years old, his family makes a difficult decision. They're going to leave Alabama. They're part of what historians call the Great Migration, when millions of Black Americans fled the Jim Crow South looking for better opportunities in the North. The Owens family settles in Cleveland, Ohio. They hope for a better life. On his first day at his new school, the teacher asks the boy his name. In his thick Southern accent, he says J.C., but she hears Jesse. The name sticks. From that day forward, James Cleveland Owens becomes Jesse Owens. Life in Cleveland is better than Alabama, but only barely. The North has its own kind of racism. Jesse's family lives in a poor neighborhood. His father struggles to find steady work. Jesse takes odd jobs to help his family. He delivers groceries. He works in a shoe repair shop. The family is still desperately poor. But something changes when Jesse enters Fairmount Junior High School. A man named Charles Riley notices that Jesse is fast, very fast. Riley is the track coach, and he sees something special in this skinny kid. There's just one problem. Jesse has to work after school to help his family. He can't come to regular practice. So Coach Riley does something remarkable. He offers to train Jesse in the mornings, before school. Every day before the sun comes up, Jesse and Coach Riley meet at the track. Riley teaches him technique. He teaches him how to explode from the starting blocks. He teaches him that running isn't just about speed. It's about form, about efficiency, about poetry in motion. Jesse gets faster. By the time he reaches East Technical High School in Cleveland, he's breaking records. But he's still poor. He's still working jobs. He's still facing racism every single day. And yet, he keeps running. In 1933, Jesse enrolls at Ohio State University. He's the first person in his family to go to college. But Ohio State won't give him a scholarship, not because he isn't good enough, but because he's black. So Jesse works as an elevator operator and a waiter to pay his way through school. He lives off campus because the dorms are segregated. He can't eat in most of the campus restaurants. But he runs for the Ohio State track team, and when he runs, people notice. May 25, 1935. The Big Ten Track and Field Championships at Ferry Field in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Jesse Owens is about to have the greatest 45 minutes in the history of sports. He's actually injured. He hurt his back a week earlier and can barely walk, but he shows up anyway. At 3:15 in the afternoon, Jesse runs the 100-yard dash. He ties the world record, 9.4 seconds. 10 minutes later, he long jumps. On his first attempt, he breaks the world record, 26 feet, 8 1/4 inches. This record will stand for 25 years. At 3:34, he runs the 220-yard dash. He breaks the world record, 20.3 seconds. At 4, he runs the 220 low hurdles. He breaks that world record too, 22.6 seconds. In 45 minutes, Jesse Owens breaks 3 world records and ties a 4th. It's the single greatest athletic performance anyone has ever seen. Sports writers can't believe it. They call him the Buckeye Bullet. They call him superhuman. But Jesse knows he's just a kid from Alabama who learned to run fast. Now the world is watching, and the world is changing. In Germany, a man named Adolf Hitler has risen to power. He leads the Nazi Party, and his ideas are spreading like a poison through Europe. Hitler believes in something he calls Aryan supremacy. He believes that white Northern Europeans are the master race, superior to all others. He believes that black people are subhuman. He's written these ideas in his book, in his speeches, in his laws. And now, Hitler has an opportunity to prove his theories to the entire world. Germany is hosting the 1936 Olympic Games. Hitler sees this as a chance for propaganda. He spent millions of dollars making Berlin beautiful. He's built an enormous stadium. He's ordered the German people to be on their best behavior. He wants to show the world that Nazi Germany is strong, modern, and that the Aryan race is supreme. There's a problem, though. The United States Olympic team includes several black athletes. Jesse Owens is one of them. So is Ralph Metcalfe, a sprinter from Marquette University. So is Cornelius Johnson, a high jumper. So is David Albritton. So is John Woodruff. These men are about to compete in Hitler's games, and Hitler believes they will lose. He believes his German athletes, his Aryans, will dominate. In America, people are debating whether the U.S. should even send a team to Nazi Germany. Some people want to boycott the Olympics. They say that participating in Hitler's propaganda showcase is wrong. They point out that Germany is persecuting Jewish people. They point out that Nazi racial laws are evil. But others argue that sports and politics should be separate. They say American athletes deserve their chance at glory. The American Olympic Committee votes to attend. The decision is made. The team will go to Berlin. For Jesse Owens, this decision is complicated. He's going to represent the United States of America. But America doesn't treat him like a full citizen. In many parts of his own country, he can't vote. He can't eat in certain restaurants. He can't sleep in certain hotels. He has to use separate bathrooms, separate water fountains. The irony is painful. He's being sent to fight Nazi racism while facing American racism every single day. But Jesse wants to go. He wants to compete. He wants to win. Not for politics, not for propaganda. He wants to win because he spent his entire life running, and he's the fastest man in the world. He deserves to prove it. Jesse is also thinking about his future. He's thinking about Ruth Solomon, his girlfriend since high school. They have a daughter together, but they're not married yet. Jesse is poor. If he wins gold medals in Berlin, maybe he can turn that into money somehow. Maybe he can finally give his family the life they deserve. The American Olympic team boards a ship called the SS Manhattan. The journey across the Atlantic takes a week. Even on the ship, the black athletes face discrimination. They're given worse cabins. They're treated differently. But they bond together. They become a family. Jesse becomes close with Ralph Metcalfe. They push each other in practice. They joke around. They try not to think too much about what awaits them in Germany. When the ship arrives in Germany, Jesse steps onto Nazi soil. It's a surreal experience. Swastikas are everywhere. Nazi soldiers in their crisp uniforms stand at attention. The German people stare at the black American athletes with curiosity. Some have never seen a black person before. Hitler's propaganda has told them that black people are inferior, primitive, animalistic. But here are these athletes, strong and confident and human. The American team is taken to the Olympic Village. It's a collection of buildings where all the athletes from all the countries live together. And here's something strange. The Olympic Village is integrated. Black athletes and white athletes room together, eat together, train together. For the Black American athletes, this is bizarre. They're experiencing less segregation in Nazi Germany than they do back home in the United States. It's another painful irony. Jesse trains hard. He's nervous. The pressure on him is enormous. He's not just representing himself. He's representing his race. Every Black newspaper in America is watching. Every Black family in America is listening on the radio. They're pinning their hopes on him. If he wins, it will be a victory against racism, against Hitler's evil ideology. If he loses, he fears it will be used as evidence of inferiority. The German athletes are formidable. They're well-trained, well-fed, and competing on their home turf. Hitler has invested heavily in their preparation. He expects them to win. One German athlete stands out to Jesse. His name is Lutz Long. He's a long jumper, tall and blonde and blue-eyed, the perfect picture of Hitler's ideal Aryan. Long is good, really good. He's one of Jesse's main competitors. The days before competition are tense. Jesse watches as Nazi officials march around. He watches as Leni Riefenstahl, Hitler's favorite filmmaker, sets up her cameras to capture the games for a propaganda film. He watches as Hitler takes his seat in the stadium, surrounded by Nazi leaders. Hermann Göring is there. Joseph Goebbels is there. Heinrich Himmler is there. The men who run the Nazi death machine have come to watch sports. Jesse tries to focus. Coach Larry Snyder, who traveled with the team from Ohio State, reminds him to stay calm, to run his race, to not let the politics distract him. Jesse nods. He knows what he needs to do. August 3rd, 1936. Day 1 of track and field competition. Jesse Owens' first event is the 100-meter dash. It's the premier event of any Olympics. The fastest man in the world will be crowned today. Jesse advances easily through the heats. He's smooth, relaxed, powerful. In the semifinals, he sets a new Olympic record. The crowd murmurs. The Nazi officials shift in their seats. Maybe this Black American is faster than they thought. The final is set for the afternoon. 6 men line up. Jesse is in lane 1. The stadium is packed. Hitler is watching from his box. 110,000 Germans fill the stands. Nazi flags wave in the wind. The moment has arrived. The starter raises his pistol. The athletes settle into their blocks. Jesse's heart is pounding. He takes a breath. The gun fires. Jesse explodes from the blocks. His form is perfect. His legs are pumping. He's ahead by the 50-meter mark. Nobody can catch him. He crosses the finish line first, 10.3 seconds. He's tied the Olympic record. Jesse Owens has won his first gold medal. The stadium erupts. Not everyone is cheering. Some of the German crowd is silent, shocked. But many are applauding. Sports fans are sports fans, even in Nazi Germany, and they've just witnessed something special. Jesse waves to the crowd. He's grinning. He's done it. In the stands, Hitler watches. After the race, he leaves his box. Some people will later say this was a snub, that Hitler refused to congratulate Jesse Owens because he was black. But the truth is more complicated, and we'll get to that later. For now, Jesse has won. 1 gold medal. 3 more events to go. The next day, August 4th, brings Jesse's second event, the long jump. This is where things get interesting. This is where Jesse meets Lutz Long. The long jump competition starts with qualifying rounds. The top 12 jumpers will advance to the finals. Jesse should qualify easily. He's one of the best long jumpers in the world. His world record jump from the previous year still stands. But something goes wrong. On his first attempt, Jesse fouls. He stepped over the takeoff board. The jump doesn't count. No problem. He has 2 more attempts. On his second try, Jesse fouls again. Now he's nervous. He has 1 attempt left. If he fouls again, he's eliminated. The great Jesse Owens won't even make it to the finals of the long jump. Jesse is panicking. His technique is off. He's overthinking everything. The pressure is crushing him. He's about to fail on the world stage, in front of Hitler, in front of everyone. And then something remarkable happens. A tall German athlete approaches him. It's Loes Long, the perfect Aryan, Hitler's ideal specimen. Long speaks to Jesse in broken English. He can see that Jesse is rattled. He can see the technique problem. And Long does something that will echo through history. He gives Jesse advice. He tells him to move his takeoff mark back a few inches. That way, even if Jesse's stride is a bit long, he won't foul. Long is helping his competitor. In front of the Nazi officials. In front of Hitler. He's risking his own chances of winning to help Jesse Owens. Jesse is stunned. He takes Long's advice. On his third attempt, he jumps clean. He qualifies for the finals. He's safe. And it's all because Loes Long helped him. The finals take place that afternoon. Now it's a real competition. Jesse versus Loes Long, the American versus the German, black versus white. Everything Hitler's ideology claims to represent, playing out on a sandpit. Long jumps first. He's brilliant. His jump is far, over 26 feet. The German crowd goes wild. Long takes the lead. Jesse is up next. He launches himself down the runway and explodes off the board. He flies through the air. When he lands, the measurement comes. He's beaten Long. Jesse is in first place. They go back and forth. Long jumps far. Jesse jumps farther. Long jumps again. Jesse answers. It's an epic battle. The crowd is enthralled. This is sport at its purest. 2 great athletes pushing each other to be better. On his final jump, Jesse reaches deep inside himself. He sprints down the runway faster than before. He hits the takeoff board perfectly. He sails through the air. When he lands, the measurement is taken. 26 feet, 5 5/16 inches. It's an Olympic record. Loes Long can't beat it. Jesse Owens has won the long jump. The crowd erupts in applause. And then something beautiful happens. Loes Long is the first person to congratulate Jesse. He runs over and hugs him. Right there, in front of Hitler, in front of the Nazi officials, in front of the cameras, the German athlete embraces the black American. They walk arm in arm around the stadium. Long raises Jesse's hand in victory. Years later, Jesse will say that it took a lot of courage for Loes Long to befriend him in front of Hitler. He'll say that it was one of the finest gestures of sportsmanship he ever experienced. In that moment, on that day, 2 men chose humanity over hatred. They chose friendship over ideology. Jesse now has 2 gold medals. He's not done yet. August 5, 1936. The 200-meter dash. This is Jesse's favorite event. The 200 requires speed, but also technique. The curve of the track makes it tricky. You have to know how to lean into the turn, how to maintain your speed through the bend. Jesse runs the heats easily. He's getting more comfortable now. The pressure is still there, but he's finding his rhythm. He's in the zone, that magical place where athletes perform without thinking, where everything just flows. The final is set for the evening. 6 men line up. Jesse is confident. When the gun fires, he's out fast. He navigates the curve perfectly. Coming into the straightaway, he's ahead. Nobody is close. He crosses the finish line first, 20.7 seconds. Another Olympic record. Another gold medal. 3 gold medals now. Jesse Owens is the story of these Olympics. The newspapers are full of his exploits. Back in America, black communities are celebrating. In churches, people are praying and cheering. Jesse Owens is their champion. He's proving that black excellence is real, that Hitler's theories are lies. But there's one more event, and this one is controversial. The 4x100-meter relay. This is a team event. 4 runners each run 100 meters, passing a baton between them. The American team is supposed to be Sam Stoller, Marty Glickman, Ralph Metcalfe, and Foy Draper. Stoller and Glickman are both Jewish. They've been training for this race for months. But the day before the race, the American coaches make a sudden change. They remove Stoller and Glickman from the team. They replace them with Jesse Owens and Ralph Metcalfe. The official reason is that the coaches are worried about the German relay team. They want to put their fastest runners in. But many people suspect the real reason is anti-Semitism. The American Olympic Committee doesn't want 2 Jewish athletes winning gold medals in Hitler's Germany. They're trying to appease the Nazis. Marty Glickman and Sam Stoller are devastated. Their Olympic dreams are crushed. Jesse Owens actually protests. He tells the coaches he doesn't want to run. He's already won 3 gold medals. He says, let Stoller and Glickman have their chance. But the coaches override him. They order him to run. August 9, 1936. The 4x100-meter relay final. Jesse runs the first leg. He gets the Americans off to a fast start. The baton passes are smooth. The American team is flying. They cross the finish line first. 39.8 seconds. It's a world record. It's Jesse's 4th gold medal. 4 events. 4 gold medals. 4 Olympic records. 1 world record. Jesse Owens has achieved something no track and field athlete has ever done at a single Olympics. He's the biggest star of these games. Even in Nazi Germany, even in Hitler's propaganda showcase, a black American has dominated. But what about Hitler? What about the famous snub? Here's what actually happened. On the first day of track and field competition, before Jesse's races, Hitler congratulated some of the German winners. He was photographed shaking hands with German athletes. But when Cornelius Johnson, a black American, won the high jump, Hitler left the stadium before the medal ceremony. It looked like a deliberate snub. The head of the International Olympic Committee, a man named Henri de Baillet-Latour, had a conversation with Hitler that evening. He told Hitler that as the host, he needed to either congratulate all the winners or none of them. Hitler chose none. From that point forward, he stopped personally congratulating athletes. So Hitler never snubbed Jesse Owens specifically. He never snubbed him because he never congratulated him in the first place. Hitler adopted a policy of not congratulating anyone after that first day. Jesse was never in line to be congratulated by Hitler because Hitler had already stopped congratulating people. Years later, Jesse himself set the record straight. He said, "Hitler didn't snub me. It was our president who snubbed me. The president never even sent me a telegram." And this is where the real tragedy of Jesse Owens' story begins. He's conquered Berlin. He's won 4 gold medals. He's become one of the most famous athletes in the world. Now he's going home to America. He thinks he'll be celebrated as a hero. He thinks his life is about to change. He's wrong. Jesse returns to New York City on September 3, 1936. There's a ticker tape parade. Thousands of people line the streets to cheer for the American Olympic heroes. Jesse waves from a car. It feels like triumph. Then he goes to a reception at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. It's a fancy event for the Olympic team. Jesse shows up in his best suit. He's told he has to use the freight elevator. He's not allowed to use the main elevator with the white athletes. He's not allowed to enter through the front door. At the reception itself, Jesse can't sit with his white teammates. He's segregated to a different area. This is in New York City, supposedly one of the more progressive cities in America. If this is how he's treated in New York, imagine what awaits him in the South. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt never invites Jesse to the White House, never sends a congratulatory telegram, never acknowledges his achievements. Roosevelt is worried about losing Southern Democratic votes in the upcoming election. He can't be seen celebrating a black athlete too much. It might upset the race's voters he needs. Jesse expected his Olympic success to lead to opportunities. He expected endorsement deals, job offers, a chance to finally make some money. But those opportunities don't come. Companies don't want a black spokesperson. Most jobs won't hire him. He's still Jesse Owens from Cleveland, still black in America, still facing the same racism he's always faced. The Amateur Athletic Union insists that Jesse continue running in exhibitions. They want to capitalize on his fame. They book him on a tour of Europe. But Jesse is tired. He's been competing for months. He wants to go home to Ruth and his daughter. He wants to start making money professionally. So he leaves the tour early and returns to America. The AAU is furious. They strip Jesse of his amateur status. This means he can no longer compete in sanctioned track and field events. His athletic career, at the highest level, is over. He's 23 years old. Jesse needs money. He has a family to support. So he takes whatever work he can get. He races against horses in exhibition matches. Promoters pay him small amounts of money to run against thoroughbreds at county fairs and carnivals. It's humiliating. The fastest man in the world, a 4-time Olympic gold medalist, reduced to racing animals for pocket change. He works as a playground instructor. He runs a dry cleaning business that fails. He tries various business ventures that don't pan out. He speaks at schools and small events for small fees. He's broke. The man who won 4 gold medals in Berlin is barely getting by in America. The contrast is stark and painful. Jesse Owens was treated better by ordinary Germans in Nazi Germany than he's treated in his own country. At the Olympics, he could eat in any restaurant in the Olympic Village. He could stay in the same housing as white athletes. German spectators, even many Nazi officials, applauded his performances. Some German citizens asked for his autograph. But in America, the land of the free, he can't eat in most restaurants. He can't stay in most hotels. He's denied opportunities because of his skin color. He's a hero everywhere except at home. Years pass. Jesse struggles. But he never speaks bitterly about America. He never denounces his country. Instead, he speaks about hope. He speaks about progress. He works with young people, encouraging them to chase their dreams. He believes that sports can be a force for change. In the 1940s, Jesse finally gains some stability. He gets a job with Ford Motor Company. He does public relations work. He gives speeches. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills. He and Ruth finally get married officially in 1940. They raise 3 daughters together. But Jesse's legacy from Berlin continues to grow. As World War II unfolds and the world sees the true horror of Nazi Germany, people remember Jesse Owens in Berlin. They remember how he stood on that Olympic podium and disproved Hitler's racial theories. They remember how Louis Long chose friendship over fascism. In 1943, during the war, Louis Long is killed in combat in Sicily. Before he died, he wrote a letter to Jesse. In it, he asked Jesse to find his son after the war and tell him about their friendship. He asked Jesse to tell his son that things could be different, that people from different races and countries could be friends and brothers. Jesse kept that promise. Years later, he met Louis Long's son and told him the story. The 1950s and 60s bring the civil rights movement. America is changing, slowly and painfully. Jesse Owens watches as younger black athletes like Jackie Robinson and Muhammad Ali fight for justice in their own ways. Some of them criticize Jesse for not being more militant, for not speaking out more against racism. But Jesse has his own approach. He believes in leading by example. He believes in working within the system. In 1968, at the Mexico City Olympics, two Black American athletes named Tommy Smith and John Carlos raised their fists in a Black Power salute on the medal podium. It's a powerful protest against racism in America. Jesse, who is working for the U.S. Olympic Committee by then, initially criticizes them. He says it's not the right venue for protest. Many young Black Americans are disappointed in Jesse. They think he's sold out. They think he's forgotten what it's like to face discrimination. But Jesse later says he understands why they did it. He says times have changed and young people have to fight in their own way. He never apologizes for his own approach, but he respects theirs. He's trying to bridge different generations, different philosophies. In the 1970s, America finally begins to properly honor Jesse Owens. In 1976, President Gerald Ford awards Jesse the Presidential Medal of Freedom. It's the highest civilian honor in America. It comes 40 years too late, but it comes. Jesse is 72 years old. In his acceptance speech, he's gracious. He doesn't dwell on the decades of neglect. He focuses on hope and progress. Jesse dies on March 31, 1980. He's 66 years old. He has lung cancer from decades of smoking. The world mourns. Tributes pour in from around the globe. Finally, everyone acknowledges what he achieved, what he meant. In Berlin, at the Olympic Stadium, where Jesse won his 4 gold medals, there's now a street named after him. There's a plaque commemorating his achievements. The German government, the modern democratic German government, honors him as a hero who stood against Nazi ideology. The stadium itself, once draped in swastikas and used for Hitler's propaganda, now stands as a memorial to the athletes who proved that hatred and racism have no place in sports. Jesse Owens' story is complicated. It's not a simple tale of an athlete who won medals and lived happily ever after. It's a story about the contradictions of America. It's about a man who represented a country that didn't fully accept him. It's about the gap between American ideals and American reality. Jesse Owens went to Berlin and shattered Adolf Hitler's theories about racial superiority. He proved that talent, dedication, and excellence have nothing to do with skin color. He proved that Hitler's ideology was built on lies. That should have been the end of the story. He should have come home to celebration and opportunity. Instead, he came home to segregation and struggle. He came home to the same racism he'd left behind. The man who embarrassed the Nazis couldn't eat in many American restaurants. The man who won 4 gold medals rode the freight elevator. The man who disproved racial superiority theories lived in a country that enforced racial hierarchy. But Jesse's story is also about resilience. It's about maintaining dignity in the face of injustice. It's about the power of individual excellence to challenge evil ideologies. And it's about unexpected friendship. The friendship between Jesse Owens and Luz Long remains one of the most beautiful stories in Olympic history. Here were 2 men who were supposed to be enemies. One black, one white, one American, one German, one competing against Nazi ideology, one living under it. But they chose to see each other as human beings. They chose friendship. Luz Long could have ignored Jesse Owens. He could have let him foul out of the competition. It would have improved Long's chances of winning gold. But Long valued sportsmanship more than victory. He valued humanity more than ideology. And in doing so, he created a moment of light in the darkness of Nazi Germany. When Luz Long walked arm in arm with Jesse Owens around that stadium, he was defying everything Hitler stood for. He was risking his own safety and future. German athletes who fraternized too openly with black athletes could face consequences. But Long didn't care. He saw a great athlete, a good man, and he acted accordingly. Jesse never forgot that kindness. For the rest of his life, he spoke about Luz Long with reverence and love. He said that his friendship with Long was worth more than any medal. He said it taught him that people could transcend the hatred and division that leaders try to impose on them. The 1936 Berlin Olympics were supposed to showcase Nazi superiority. They were supposed to prove Hitler's racial theories. Instead, they did the opposite. They showed the world that Hitler was wrong. They showed that black athletes could compete with anyone. They showed that excellence comes in all colors. Jesse Owens won 4 gold medals in Berlin, but his real victory was larger than that. His real victory was every time someone sees his story and realizes that racism is a lie. His real victory is every young athlete of any race who learns about him and believes they can achieve greatness. His real victory is the friendship with Louis Long, proof that even in the darkest times, humanity can shine through. Today, Jesse Owens is remembered as one of the greatest athletes of all time. His 4 gold medals in Berlin stand as one of the greatest achievements in Olympic history. But he's also remembered for what those medals meant. They meant defiance. They meant dignity. They meant that no ideology, no matter how powerful, can change the truth about human potential. Jesse Owens ran fast. That's what he did. He ran faster than almost anyone had ever run before. But in running fast, he did something more. He struck a blow against hatred. He gave hope to millions. He proved that sport, at its best, can be more than just entertainment. It can be a statement about what we believe, about who we are, about what kind of world we want to live in. On August 3, 1936, Jesse Owens crouched at a starting line in Berlin. Nazi flags waved above him. Hitler watched from his box. The crowd of 110,000 waited, and Jesse Owens ran. He ran like his life depended on it. Like all the lives of everyone who had ever been told they were less than, that they were inferior, that they didn't belong. He ran for his grandparents who had been slaves. He ran for his parents who picked cotton. He ran for every black person in America who faced discrimination every single day. He ran for himself, and he won. 4 times he stood on that podium. 4 times the American flag was raised in Hitler's Berlin. 4 times the lies of Nazi ideology were exposed for what they were, lies. Jesse Owens' feet changed the world, not just because they were fast, but because of where they ran and when they ran, and what it meant when they crossed the finish line first. In a stadium built for hate, Jesse Owens created moments of triumph. In a country consumed by evil, he showed that truth and excellence cannot be denied. That's the story of Jesse Owens at the Berlin Olympics. Not just a story of athletic achievement, but a story of courage, of resistance, of humanity. A story of a man from Alabama who became a legend in Berlin. A story that reminds us that one person can make a difference. That excellence speaks louder than propaganda. That friendship can bloom even in the darkest soil. Jesse Owens ran into history, and the world has never forgotten.